the real reason you are not taking action isn't a lack of motivation, information, or discipline. It's something far more subtle. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Welcome to Personal Development Mastery, the podcast helping midlife professionals in transition turn uncertainty into clear direction and confident next steps. I'm your host, Agi Keramidas. Join us every Monday for in-depth conversations with experts and every Thursday for shorter solo episodes with insights and tools you can use. This is episode 578. If you are looking to take ownership of your life and finally close the gap between knowing and doing, this conversation explores how discipline, mindset, and identity can drive lasting personal change. Before we start, if you are a midlife professional ready for change, I offer one-to-one coaching to help you get clear on what's next and create a realistic plan forward. As a former dentist who has made this transition myself, I know how challenging this can feel. To explore this, visit personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com/mentor. That's personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com/mentor. The link is in the episode description. Now, let's begin. Today it is my real pleasure to speak with Stanley Bronstein. Stanley, you know firsthand what it means to reshape your life from the inside out, as you have lost over 220 pounds in weight and kept it off for 17 years now. With your work, you have built clear practical systems for lasting change, and you show how discipline, identity, and daily action can create a new future. Stanley, welcome to the show. It's a real pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
There are many directions that we can probably go to, but the main, shall we say, thing that I would like to explore with you is how to replace, and I mean replace in our inner world, a vague intention of something that we would like to happen, how to replace that with disciplined action so it can actually start being shaped. Having said that, as a foundation for the conversation, what I would like to ask you, and that's briefly from your own story and journey, when you had reached that maximum weight that you had, what was the truth that finally broke through the stories that you have been telling, so that made things different?
Okay. Well, first of all, my maximum weight was 367 pounds. And that actually, I didn't reach the breaking moment, the breaking point, the epiphany point when I was 367. I had lost some weight. I lost probably close to 100 pounds, got down to like 265 or so, and then got married, got comfortable, started putting weight back on. I never got back up to my full 367, but I did get up to 320, which was still pretty big. And as my 50th birthday, first of all, just to show everybody, this is what I looked like when I was at my maximum weight. 367, pretty big. And as I was approaching my 50th birthday, I said to myself, where am I going to be in 5 years if I keep going the same way I'm going now? Mm-hmm. Can you guess what the answer was?
Not in a very nice place. Health-wise, I mean.
The answer was dead. And I didn't like that answer. I said, I don't want to be dead. So I turned to my wife. This was February 1st, 2009. That's almost exactly 17 years ago to the date. In another 10 days, I'm going to be, or 11 days, I'm going to be celebrating my 17th rebirth day. I call that day my rebirth day.
Pretty nice.
And I said, I'm cooked. I'm done. I'm going to stop tolerating BS in my life. And the number one person I'm going to stop tolerating it from was myself. Mm-hmm. So I took personal responsibility. Then I also told her the second person I'm going to stop tolerating it from is you. And I said, I'm going to make some changes in my life. I'm going on a journey. I have to make this journey or I'm going to be dead. If you don't like some of these changes I'm making, I don't care. I had what I call a moment of healthy selfishness. I said, I have to do this, and whether you like it or not doesn't matter. And I said, I'm going on this journey, and I invite you to come along with me, and I hope you do. But if you don't, that's too bad. Well, to give you a spoiler alert, we're still married. But, because people are going, I was pretty harsh that day. It was a pretty raw day.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm going to learn to start eating better right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. So that's the thing to remember. You want to change your life, start right now. It's not going to be any easier tomorrow or next week or whatever. Just start. And we're going to talk about what to do once you get started a little bit later. So I said, I'm going to learn to start eating better right now, and I'm going to start exercising right now. And my exercise of choice is going to be walking. Mm-hmm. I picked walking because you didn't need a lot of special equipment. You could do it almost anywhere. And I figured it was a little easier on the body than a lot of other exercises. I know you like to run, which is fine too. Very similar. But I just found walking because I figured I could do it long-term better, with less wear and tear on the body. Mm-hmm. So right away, I quit drinking alcohol. I won't say I was an alcoholic, but I will say I was drinking too much. Mm-hmm. And I will say that I was serving the alcohol and the alcohol was not serving me. Yeah. So out the door, quit. Haven't had a drink in 17 years and I don't miss it. And to be honest, it makes going to parties a lot more interesting when everyone else is drinking and you're not. It was a very interesting experience, but I did. And I began walking. By the time of my 50th birthday, I had lost about 50 pounds. So I was down to about 270 or something like that. And I kept going and going and going.
Stanley, I will go back because there was something that you said that when you took the decision you started right now. I want to bring that situation or something similar to someone listening right now. Let's say, and mainly the audience is people in midlife. So as you know, many people in midlife in particular know exactly what needs to change, like you did before you lost the weight. Mm-hmm. However, nothing changes. So what I wanted to discuss is that, gap between knowing and doing. For you, you said the example was, not the example, sorry, the trigger was when you realized that unless you change in 5 years, you will be dead. For other people, this is not really the same situation or motivation. So I wanted to discuss this with you, from knowing to doing. What's missing there? What needs to click for someone?
Okay. The first principle in my system is called learning to tell it like it is. Mm-hmm. Awareness. Admitting to yourself where you're at, which is what I did, which a lot of people who are at midlife, they already know what their issues are. However, I'll tell you one thing right now. I'm not a big fan of the term of midlife. And the reason why I don't like the term midlife is I believe I've gotten younger over the last 17 years. And while I am 66 years old, and I'm not saying I'm going to live forever, I'm not so sure I'm at midlife. I really am not. I mean, I feel more like I'm 30 or 35. And that's the type of energy I have and the spirit I have. And I know we're not going to talk about nutrition, but I want to make one sentence about that. I think that is a major part of why I am where I'm at. I really think it plays a part, but we're not going to go there. The difference is my learning to tell it like it is statement is made up of two parts. I think you can guess what the second part is. It's not enough to tell yourself the truth. You then have to act on it. Okay, which you touched on. Now, let's make a little change here. I said you have to act on that. No, you don't. There's a little thing called perspective, which is principle number 6 in my system, changing your perspective. When you say that you have to do something, it's an obligation. It's drudgery. You dread doing it. You don't want to do it. But if you sit there and you say, I get to do this, then it becomes a privilege. And when it becomes a privilege, it is no longer an obligation, and it becomes a pleasure to do it. All the crazy things I do, I get to do. I get to eat healthier. I get to exercise every day. If I see a homeless person on the street, I get to help them. I don't have to help them. I get to help them. It is my privilege. And you know who taught me that? It was a lady. She taught it to me, and she didn't intentionally teach it to me, but I learned it from her. You know, have you met a few people in your life who you will remember for the rest of your life? Okay. There was a lady named Peggy Chun. She was an artist who lived in Honolulu, Hawaii. By the time I met her, she had Lou Gehrig's disease, and she was bedridden on a ventilator. She could not speak. She could not move. And the only way I could talk to her was trained people would hold up an eye chart, and they could read her eye movements, and she would spell out words. And you could talk to her. Now, when I saw her, the thought that went through my mind was that if I ever get like that, please take a pillow and put it over my head and take me out. Please do me a favor. Well, that was not what she was about. This woman had the most incredible joy for life of anyone I'd ever met. She said, my grandkids are coming over today. We're going to paint. They're going to put me in the car. We're going to go out to the park. It's a beautiful sunny day. We're going to have a good time. I told her about this trip I was getting ready to go on where I was going to drive around the whole United States, interviewing 50 different people for a book that I was writing. And she said, oh, that sounds so exciting. I wish I could go with you. Okay. Well, have you ever heard the saying, what would Jesus do? Yes. I started saying, what would Peggy Chun do? And anytime I wasn't motivated, anytime I didn't want to get out of bed and go walking, I said, what would Peggy Chun do? And the answer is Peggy Chun would have gotten her lazy butt out of bed, and she'd have gone walking, and she'd have said how beautiful the day was, and she might not ever come back. But she couldn't do it. I could. It was my privilege to do it. So that's the whole step right there. Change it from have to get to. That makes it much more fun. Does that make sense?
It certainly does, and I will go deeper on that, and I will ask you that it's very understandable and very nice to hear changing that perspective, as you said, to from have to get to. My question is, how, for you, perhaps thinking about Peggy and saying what would Peggy do, help you to let's say, maintain that shift, because someone who is used habitually to think, I have to do this, I have to do that, it might not be so easy to snap out of it and change the internal posture into, I get to do it. So what are your thoughts on that?
First of all, my thoughts are, it's easier than you think. Okay. Our brains believe what we tell it. Start using the word can, stop using the word can't, start focusing on the positive, stop focusing on the negative, start focusing on the good, stop focusing on the bad, engage in positive self-talk, stop with the negative self-talk. Your brain believes what you tell it. Well, I want to tell you, I'm going to share 3 things that I've learned from my weight loss experience and my walking experience. And the third one applies to everyone listening here. Mm-hmm. And I think it will tie into what you're saying. Mm-hmm. The first thing I've learned is, okay, I'm a very confident man. I became both an attorney and a certified public accountant. I've had a very successful business career. Very confident man. But the experience of losing this much weight, keeping it off, and going from a person who could only walk 2 or 3 blocks to a person who walks more than 5,000 miles a year. This is me last year. I started off in Los Angeles and I almost made it to London. Except I ended up in the middle of the Atlantic. Now, at the age of 66, for someone to be able to lose that much weight, become that much of an avid walker, it taught me I am more powerful than I ever imagined. It's the first thing it taught me. Second thing it taught me was it made me ask a question. If I am capable of doing this, what else is out there waiting for me to do that I haven't done yet? Mm-hmm. And that's my work that I'm doing now. That's why I have not retired. I could retire now. I could and take it easy the rest of my life, but I don't want to. I'm having too much fun. I get to do all the things that I'm doing. Yes. And then the third thing it taught me, and this is what applies to everyone in your audience. If I am more powerful than I ever imagined, so is everyone else. You are more powerful than you ever imagined. Believe it. You know, you sit there and you say, oh, it's hard to do this. It's hard to do that. I got news for you. I used to say losing weight was hard. Losing weight is easy. Walking around like this is hard. What I do every day is easy compared to what I used to do. And to sit there and say it's hard, that's rationalizing it to ourselves. We, as your friend, I know you've been to Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within, as I have. You're feeding your brain bad information. You need to reprogram your brain. Mm-hmm. You get to reprogram your brain. You are still breathing. If you are alive, you have an opportunity. When you're dead, you don't have the opportunity anymore. So think of it that way. It's not nearly as hard as you want to tell yourself it is. You are more powerful than you ever imagined. Believe it. You know, I've learned there are 4 things that determine whether or not someone's going to be successful in their change. These are them. These are also parts of my system. The first one is willingness. You have to be willing to do what it takes for the rest of your hopefully very long, very healthy, very enjoyable, very pleasant life. You have to be willing. But if you apply what I said before, you don't have to be willing. You get to be willing. Okay? Next one. You have to believe that you're capable of doing it. Well, I just told you you're more powerful than you ever imagined. Believe it. You know, I don't even know you, and I believe in you. I have faith in you. I know what you're capable of doing. Believe it. Believe in your abilities, believe in your talents, believe in your ideas. The next one is discipline. And by discipline, I do not mean punishment. I mean self-discipline, taking all your negative habits and stopping them. I used to go to Chinese buffets every day for lunch. Gone. I used to drink alcohol every day. Gone. I used to sit on my butt every day. Gone. Forming new positive habits in its place. I eat healthy every day. Yes. I walk every day. Yes. I do not drink alcohol. Yes. I do healthy activities every day. Yes. I only allow positive thoughts to enter my mind. Yes. All those things. It's discipline. And once again, you don't have to do these things. You get to do these things, because what happens is this whole thing is geometric. It compounds, it grows. It's like putting money in the bank and forgetting it's there and letting it sit. It grows and grows and grows. I have a saying called beat yesterday. Your goal is simple. You want to be better today than you were yesterday, better tomorrow than you were today, and keep going. I am at the very tail end of year 17 of beating yesterday. The person I am today is nothing like the person I was 17 years ago. The person 17 years ago was 320 pounds. Today I'm 145 pounds. The person I was 17 years ago had trouble walking 3 blocks. Well, I walk a half marathon every day. Every day.
Wow.
And I'm fortunate. I've been able to, I work at home. I work for myself. I built a lifestyle where I can do that. But I do that every day, and I enjoy doing it. And then the last one is commitment. When you become 100% committed to a thing, it becomes easier. For example, I am 100% committed that no unhealthy food is going to enter my mouth. Period. Over Christmas, I had somebody give me cupcakes and cookies. I didn't eat them. I didn't think about eating them. The thought of eating them never entered my mind. As soon as they gave them to me, I took them. I said, thank you. And then I promptly gave them to a neighbor who is skinny, who enjoys that kind of food. And I gave them to her, and everybody was happy. I am 100% committed to walking 2 hours or more every day. It has been just almost 8 years since I last took a day off from walking. And the only reason I took 3 days off, and that's because I was sick as a dog. And if you go back before that, you can add another 4 years on it. So it's been 12 years where I've only taken 3 days off. And if you would have told me that those 3 days would interrupt a 12-year streak, I would have found a way to walk those 3 days. I would have gotten out of bed and done it anyway. That's how committed I am. Now, it becomes easier. Because when you become committed, your identity changes. You become a different person, and you step into a different identity, and you feel differently, and you become powerful. That's why I was telling you I do not like the phrase midlife, because midlife to me implies that you're at the tail end. And yeah, chronologically, I might be in the second half of my life. I might be. I'm 66, second half would mean I'd be 132. I might be. I don't know if I'm going to live that long, but I'm going to try. And I want to be healthy doing it. There's an old saying, I'm going to live forever or die trying. And I want to be healthy. I have things to do. Now, that's an important part of all this, is finding something to do. You are on a mission. I read it on your website. You have a mission. You have a mission statement. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. You know what you're doing. I'm the same way. And that helps. And it doesn't have to be something complicated. It doesn't have to be world changing. It doesn't have to be grandiose. It just needs to be something that has meaning to you. Your purpose could be to grow the best indoor garden in your house and to care for it every day. I've got a neighbor who lives 2 blocks away from me. He doesn't do a whole heck of a lot, but you go look at his yard and his garden. Oh my, oh my. That is his baby, and he cares for it every day. And that is his purpose. And that's all you need, something. It might be helping someone else. It could be volunteering. It could be your work. It could be anything. But having a purpose, a reason to get up in the morning is important. You know that. I'm not telling you anything new here.
That's a great answer there, Stanley. Thank you. I will switch gears, and there is something else that I wanted a brief comment about, because I think there is some relevance to what we were saying, but in a different direction. And that is something that I've seen that you differentiate or make it quite clear. Actually, they are different anyway, but you make it clear, and that's excellence and perfection. And you recommend or excellence rather than perfection. Exactly. Yes, I can see the quote you have put on the screen. The goal is not perfection, the goal is excellence. I want to ask, how does this distinction change someone's decision-making process, especially when they are, thinking ahead in a transition, afraid that they might do something wrong? I think it's a very interesting concept to consider. That I know many people listening to this call themselves perfectionists, so I think that would be enlightening to come from you.
I will start out by telling you I used to be a 367-pound perfectionist. I think that's a little hypocritical, don't you think? There was something wrong there. I used to complain that I was not getting the respect from others that I felt like I deserved, all while I was carrying an outward manifestation of weighing 367 pounds, showing people outwardly that on some level I didn't respect myself enough to take care of myself. Mm-hmm. So is it any wonder they didn't respect me? Okay, perfection. When you're a perfectionist, there is no room for error. Either you did it perfectly or you fell short. Mm-hmm. Other people around you, either they did it perfectly or they fell short. You set unreasonable standards for yourself that are virtually impossible to meet. You set unrealistic standards for others that are virtually impossible to meet. Well, I like to say I'm not a perfectionist. I am a good enoughist. Good enough is good enough. When you aim for good enough, you reach a point where you're satisfied. That doesn't mean you can't do it better. You can. You can always do better, and that's okay. It's okay to try to do it better. Not a problem, but cut yourself some slack. You are a human being. All of us are human beings. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. We are going to make mistakes. No doubt about it. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. And that is okay that you make mistakes. I'll give you an example. I work with a lot of lawyers who are perfectionists. And I remember one in particular, he said, I'm always scared that I'm going to get sued because I messed up something for somebody. Yeah, I told him, I said, look, I have all of my old files for my clients in my garage. And every so often I have to go back into those old files and I see some work I did 20 or 30 years ago. And when I look at the work I did 20 or 30 years ago, I cringe. Because the quality of work was nowhere near as good as the quality of work that I turn out today. Yet, somehow every client was happy. I never got sued. Everything worked out. Everything was okay. You're not perfect. You're not going to be perfect. There are no perfect human beings. Don't even try to be. Just be good enough and work on constantly getting better. You know what happens? If you make a mistake, if you do what they say, you fall off the wagon. If you fall off the wagon, just get back up. That's it. It's real simple. Do not quit. Get started. Keep going. That's the important part. There's a phrase that I follow. Constant. You've probably heard it. Constant and never-ending improvement. Can I? C-A-N-I. Can I? I wrote a book on that. The answer is yes, you can. I am in year 17 of constant and never-ending improvement. That's all you have to do. Get better. And you will be amazed at what you turn into. You don't have to do it all overnight. I did not do what I did overnight. It took years. And that's fine. You have the rest of your life, the rest of your hopefully very long, very healthy life to get better. The important thing is that you start and you never stop. You know, they say people have animals that are their role model, a totem. This is my animal, the snail. Mm-hmm. They are steady. They are diligent. They are persistent. They get where they're going no matter how long it takes. Be like that. Be steady. Be persistent. Get started. Keep going. That's it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't blame anybody. Don't blame your parents. Don't blame your spouse. Don't blame your kids. Don't blame your boss. Don't blame the government. Don't blame circumstances. Just say, what do I need to do? And then start doing it. There's power in that. Did that answer the question?
Yes, it does. There is power in that. It is simple. Not necessarily easy, but it is simple, and there is.
It's easier, but it's easier than people think.
Absolutely.
Don't tell yourself
that, of course. Stanley, where would you like to direct the listener of this conversation so that they can learn more about you and continue the journey?
They can go right here to my website.
thewayofexcellence.com.
Yes. thewayofexcellence.com. If you go there, I have 7 of my books. They're on there digitally and they are all free. And the reason they are free, it is my way of giving back. I have been very fortunate. I have a wonderful life, and it is my privilege to give back. I do not want money to stand in the way of someone changing their life. You can also, if you want to contact me, there's a link at the bottom of the page. You can contact me. If you want to work with me privately, I would love to work with you privately, or I'd love to put you in one of my groups. Those groups and privately cost money, which is fine. But if you don't have the money or you don't want to spend the money, download the books, start reading, start watching all the videos that are on the website. The website's designed to start you in a good place and take you through the system. And that's it. You do that, you're off to the races, and you will change your life. And you know why? Because you are more powerful than you ever imagined.
I'm glad that we're ending on this note that was mentioned earlier in the conversation. And actually, we were talking about it even before we started the conversation about being more powerful than you've ever imagined. Stanley, I want to thank you very much for this conversation. Please keep on doing what you're doing and helping others in the way that you do. For me, I will leave it to you for your parting words to the listeners. For me, the only, let's say, highlight, the biggest, let's say, highlight from the conversation was that reframing of have to do into get to do. That is indeed a game changer once someone's internal stance clicks there. So I will leave it to you for your parting wisdom, Stanley.
Okay, first of all, we can thank Peggy Chun for that wisdom of have to get to. We can thank her. Thank you, Peggy. And my parting words are, this is your time. Go for it.
Thank you for listening to this conversation with Stanley Bronstein. I hope it has given you a fresh perspective on the power of immediate action, personal responsibility, and the mindset shifts that make real transformation possible. If you are a midlife professional in a long-standing career ready for a change, I offer one-to-one coaching to help you get clear on what's next and create a realistic plan forward. As a former dentist who has made this transition myself, I know how challenging this can feel. To explore this, visit personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com/mentor. That's personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com/mentor. The link is in the episode description. Until next time, stand out, don't fit in,